Wow, the difference between Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, as far as comparison, you're talking about almost 1A, 1B on the basketball court. Just like Michael, Kobe came in at high school level, so it took him a couple of years to develop. Where Michael Jordan went through high school in North Carolina, that system, the Dean Smith system. So what it teaches you in the Dean Smith in the collegiate level is you learn how to think. You learn how to defend against sets. You understand what teams are doing to you defensively and how and where the ball should go in these situations and what position you should be in and the traps that they set for you to go in that you should never be in. You see, at the collegiate level, at the high, Division One, you get to see all of these different type of defenses that'll prepare you for things you might see when you get into the NBA. And with Michael Jordan having access to this, it made it an easier transition going into the pros. That's why we've seen a lot of high school players who were great in high school. They don't come out and have the type of impact that a collegiate player did, or a player that was there 4 years. You look at someone like Brogdon. He stayed in college 4 years, and he was Rookie of the Year last year. Um, you're looking at a lot of players who were even close to the Rookie of the Year, 3 years, 4 years. Now the 1 year and out program is not really working because these kids are not learning the game. They were great in high school, but high school is so limited as to what you're gonna see going to the big show. It's like going from AAA, well, not even AAA, single A, to the big show. It's a big step. Now, what Kobe did to prepare him because the NBA wanted him to be ready. Kobe Bryant showed flashes of greatness in high school, but he wasn't an NBA body. He was a high school kid, very athletic. There was no real soundness to his game yet. It was kind of like all over the place. That's why they called him Showboat. He loved to put on a show, do 360s. He's young. So when he came in the league, before he did, he used to practice with the 76ers. He used to go there and go into the practices and play with these guys, and practice and do shoot around. So he had an NBA training, for the games and everything. So once Kobe got the gist of everything that was going on, he was able to get on the court and compete, but his game needed a lot of work. When he played against Michael, and the thing that makes him and Michael so driven is that he never backed away from the challenge. Kobe wanted to challenge Mike. He wanted to guard him. He wanted to be great. When he shot those air balls in Utah and they made fun of him, I knew he would be back. Kobe was determined that he was going to be the next. Because that's one thing he could accept failing, but he couldn't accept the fact that he was the reason they failed. He's going to give it everything he's got, and he knew he had to get better. So weight training, That's when the weight program came in, getting stronger, building his core, uh, getting tips from people like Jordan on how he knows the defensive or how he feels them and knowing exactly where they are. And Michael would give him advice. And the fact that Kobe Bryant, how athletic he is, how he drives himself to push forward, push forward, push forward. He was never one to make the bad play and not take the blame. If he did, he would take full responsibility for it if it's on him. But he's never going to shy away. Never. And that's what Michael loved about Kobe was like, man, he's got it like me. Like Mike's just like, I'm not alone. But as far as who's more competitive, there is no man probably more competitive on this planet besides myself and my uncle Bobby than Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Michael will compete with you on the golf course, driving. With Kobe, it's just on the court. Once the game's over, Kobe's done. He don't have the drive to it don't that's where his competitiveness stops. He's done. Michael don't stop at all. It's all the way, all the time. Everything he does is competition. He's driven with competition. He wants to compete. That's just how it's in his blood. He can't help it. He's born with that tenaciousness of I got to succeed no matter what. And it drove him insane to lose to the Detroit Pistons every year. But it helped create the Michael Jordan that you know and love today. You know, Michael Jordan would have been a great athletic player that never won anything. He'd have been bouncing from team to team. He'd have been outstanding. He'd have had a lot of scoring titles, but he would have never had championships. He had to learn. He said, okay, I can't will myself to this. I got to learn how to defeat this. I have to learn by getting myself better. And that was the point. He had to learn how to get himself better. And for me, watching Michael Jordan take apart a team was very easy to see how he was doing it. And like I said, back then, players like you see guys like Russell Westbrook, he'll get 30 points in the game, but it looked like he killed himself to do it. You know, like he's going all hard all the time, like, and he'll get like 35 points of the game, and you're like, man, he made that look really hard. Then you see another player, they get the same numbers. And you like, man, they got 35? How? And it came easy. You could make the game easy for you. And you could see the points would be there. Michael Jordan realized that. He said, wow, I could just average easy. I could just average, you know, 30 a game if I wanted to. It's quite easy. It's just 8 a quarter, 8 and 8. There it is. That's 30 points. It's like, so it's not a really big deal to average 30 points a game. Michael Jordan broke the game down to a science. He said, I could just basically average 8 points a quarter. That's it. He said, what's 8 points a quarter for me? And that's the truth. If he wanted to go out and average 30 points. But Michael was smart and said, I'm not trying to score and average 30 a game. That's not my goal. I got to beat Detroit. We got to get to the NBA championship. I cannot lose again to Detroit. So he had to trust his teammates by pushing them to get better. They had to get tough. They couldn't fold because if they fold, the whole team would go down. He knew he had to get them to the level where they could at least compete to be a threat at least. Because when they collapse on him, he's going to need somebody to step up. So he had to forcibly make them better. Kobe had that, but it's a different type of motivation. Kobe would go out, like the time he scored 11 games in a row, he had over 40 points. Some of them were 50s, and like two of them were 60-point games. It's like incredible run, which is insane. No one, I don't think, will ever hit that record again. But you're talking about Kobe Bean Bryant. He would go out and score those points and rally the team that way. To say, look at what I'm doing. Now, follow me. Michael had a presence that he had a command of leadership the moment he stepped on the court, whether it was practice. Sometimes he had to get in your face in practice. Sometimes you had to get punched in the face. But one thing you was going to do, you was going to fall in line. Michael had a leadership as soon as he stepped on that court. And that's the main thing about the difference. To me, I see the fundamentals. Kobe homed in on different fundamentals than Michael. Michael fundamentals were basic basketball. Getting the ball at certain points and learning how to execute these shots. Because he wasn't going to be driving to the basket dunking all the time. As he got older, and he realized one time he almost strained his knee coming down, and he still played the next game. He should have sat. He iced his knee. He filled up one of those little, uh, those garbage cans. He bought one of them plastic garbage cans at the local store, filled it up with ice. He got two of them. They filled up with ice water all the way. And he got each leg into the garbage cans that's filled with those little plastic garbage cans. He got both his legs up in there, and they come up to his knee. And he just got them in there while he's sitting there with his legs up in there ice water. And it worked. Mike be ready to go by tomorrow, the next game. Nobody got to see what Michael went through. To get himself up. And he could take the game off. And Phil Jackson would be like, why won't you take the game off? You could rest. You don't even got to play the whole game. Mike he had to compete. It was a sickness of competing. He wanted to get out there and prove that he wanted to be, no doubt, he was the greatest thing on the court. Now, when we're talking about fundamentally sound, when someone's fundamentally sound, when you see Michael go up, you see all the moves he got. You see the balance in the way he shoots the basketball. That's what people mean by fundamentally sound. He's not drifting right. He's not drifting left. He's actually in a position to shoot every time. And when he gets the ball, he makes sure his body is always perfectly still, balanced, right. That's one thing about him. And Kobe admired that, like, man, he's so physically strong. And the fact is that not only is he physically strong, is that, my goodness, this dude is balanced perfect to perfection. He can hit this fadeaway shot at ease. Like, how is he doing this? Like, it was unbelievable. Like, Kobe's like, man, this guy is really, like, he's it. He's everything like everybody said he was. And he wanted to compete against that at a at a rate that was incredible. And Michael just be shaking his head because the Bulls would be up by like 20, and Kobe is still fighting, trying to compete. And it was like incredible to watch because he was so determined. Like, he was really determined that he wanted to prove to Mike. But it was something to watch, man. I mean, I enjoy watching these two battle on the court, and you start to see the growth process in Kobe, and you can see Michael saying, "Here you go, Kobe. Like, you're the one. You're the one that's gonna, be the one at the mountaintop when this is done." And Kobe didn't let him down. He did not let Michael down. But that was just the end of the comparison charts. I just, to me, it's hard. Kobe's the way he practiced is different. He practiced shots that nobody takes in a game. He practices for every spot on the floor, and I mean every. He wants to perfect the shot from that point. There's no point on the court that they want to say, well, that's a bad shot for Kobe. Kobe wants to prove every day, every night, he can hit any shot from any area on the court. But his shot that most people don't like taking is shots from the elbow. A lot of shooters don't like shooting from the elbow. Kobe Bryant relishes shooting from the elbow because he knows defenders are not thinking, I'm going to shoot from here and I'm going to pull up and I'm going to have an easier shot. They thinking I'm going to drive to the corner. I'm going to stop right here on this elbow, pull up and hit it. And he's practiced that shot hours and hours on a day. Before the game, he'll be shooting almost 3 hours. Before the game, if it's a big game, definitely 3 hours. He's in the gym already. He wants to get to the position where he can there's no shot on that court he can't get off. So his 3-point shooting was a lot. Michael could shoot threes, but Michael would take the perfect shot. He would only shoot the three if the three was available. You see, a lot of people don't understand that 3-point shooting was not the norm back then. So you have the open 3-point shot. That's when you take it. Now people shoot with a guy all in your face. They still pulling up from the three. Kobe plays in an era in the league where people are pulling up from three, and that's what he did. Kobe was a 3-point shooter in high school. Kobe could shoot the three. That's one thing about Kobe. He came in shooting the three, but he wanted to get better and shooting from long distance, and he was just unconscious at one point, man. It's like there's nothing he couldn't do. If you was to change something in Michael's game, what would you take and give to Kobe? Or what part that Michael game was lacking? And that was consistent 3-point shooting. Michael didn't need to go shoot threes. That's what Michael like. I'll shoot the three if we need a three, and Michael could hit it. that, that was the thing. Michael could hit it. But he wasn't a consistent shooter from out there. And you weren't going to have him out there. You were going to have to keep him out of the post, keep him from that free throw line, 15 feet, 18 feet. That's his area. Michael will destroy you in that circle. Those are all high percentage shots. Fade away from the corner. Michael got you every time. He could do the measurements. He knows, feels when you're there. He could stop, pull, fade on a dime. Michael was incredible at that point for having that fundamentals, down to the patent moves, you know. Um, yeah, with Michael, everything came to elevation, getting his legs up, making sure he had the legs to compete. So I mean, he played at 39 and 40. He was doing stuff that no athlete has done at 39 and 40, coming back into the league after 2 years. So again, he's Michael Jordan. He's one of the greatest athletes ever to compete on that basketball court. I'll give him that. Played at a very high level. And that's what I would give him over all the greats, even the greatest basketball player to ever live, Isaiah Lloyd Thomas III, is his durability. It was impossible to like hurt this man. Keep him. You can. It's like, what is he made of? His endurance level, it never left. It stayed at a pinnacle and stayed there. It's like, what is driving him? Other people got hurt. Magic, Zeke, Bird, all the other legends are all broken up. Michael Jordan was just indestructible. Ever since that ankle injury, he came back. You could not hurt Michael Jordan. That was just it. He'll hobble off the court, and you'd be like, okay, he's done. Next game, 45. You're like, what? This game, what this guy? What should he be playing today? That's Michael. And Kobe didn't have the durability of Mike. He fought through the pain and played through it, but he did not have the physical durability Michael Jordan had. I've seen a player, Michael Jordan, go up for a dunk. Another player went up to try to block the dunk. He hit Michael Jordan's body and came down, and Michael's still in the air. I'm like, wow, he's strong. That was crazy. Well, everybody got YouTube, so they can go look up the old games, and then some of them come on NBA TV. But that's my take on Jordan and Kobe as far as comparisons. To me, there's really it's like 1A, 1B. So it's I know that LeBron's not in that conversation. That's what we know. I'm out though. This has been going on way too long.